in this video, we're going to show you everything to do in the capital of Laos. We've got about 36 hours here before we fly on to our next destination. And also in this video, we're going to tell you a little bit about our highs and lows of Laos and what we think of it, and whether you should come here and spend the £42 on the visa for the 30-day experience. So our first stop, just as the beautiful evening glow comes down in the capital, we've come to I think it's pronounced Patuxay Monument.
It's
Patuxay.
Patuxay means victory gate.
There you go. So a little history lesson brought to you by Miss Carly Thompson.
It was finished in 1968. That's all I had. I said the other bit.
What is the other bit?
That it means victory gate.
So we've just come to the monument, just to have a bit of a walk around, and we've bumped into this lovely chap called Seng, we've just done a video for his Facebook channel. For apparently they want to learn our English, but I don't think our English is very good. So we've just spent some time with him. We've just done another interview. That's our third interview now so far that we've done since being in Thailand and Laos. Yes, thank you so much for spending time with us.
Yes, and thank you for both of you for coming to my countries. We all welcome you. So Lao people, we are very hospitable.
Yes,
yeah.
We found that the whole time that we've been around Laos, that everyone has been so kind and so friendly, and the way Seng approached us and just asked politely could we be in his video, it was totally worth it. We've learned a lot about Vientiane, now we know where to go, so it's been well worth our time. So thank you very much, Seng. Wow, that's what travelling's all about. Who'd have thought that we'd just turn up to this monument and literally it's now going dark. An hour and a bit later, we finally stopped chatting to Seng and let him go home to his 2-year-old kid and his partner. But yeah, wonderful just to meet people like that and catch up and just spend some time listening to locals and their culture and just getting to know people. That's sometimes the greatest thing that you can do when you travel. It's been so much fun. And also, the monument looks stunning now. So from dinner we've come down to the riverfront because this is where the night market is, and it's like coming to a massive fairground. They've shut the road. On one side you've got a load of stalls for food and some small games. On the other side looks like there's roller coasters and dodgems. It's absolutely wacky. It's crazy. This is just such a massive culture shift from anything in the UK. Like when we were young, we'd be in bed by 7 o'clock. It's 8:30 in the middle of the city centre by the river, and these kids' amusement parks are absolutely rammed. We'd never be let out this late when we were this age. So, Lao overall, let's start with the opportunities. So there is 2 main drawbacks with Lao. Number 1, transport. So the transport in Lao overall needs a lot of work. Number 1, that they can't really help, is the geography of the country. It's a very spaced out country, very mountainous, so therefore the road network is very small and very difficult to get about in the country. But they can't help the fact that their country spans right from the south where Vietnam is to the north, that's right at the top of Thailand. However, the second thing that they can help with is their roads. Their roads are terrible. There is more holes in the roads than I've seen anywhere else in the world. There is almost zero maintenance on the roads. We've seen only a couple of places getting redone. I don't understand why they can't just clear up the potholes and some of the gaps in the roads. It would make journeys so much quicker and so much more comfortable for tourists. So observation of Vientiane after being here nearly 24 hours now, it's definitely a dense population. It reminds us of going to Bangkok and Chiang Mai, yeah, where it's definitely on the busier side. We've spent the last 2 weeks pretty much in the mountains, and then you turn up to the capital and bang, there is...
And there's some money here, and good roads. The roads are better.
The roads are better, for sure. Best roads we've had in Laos. And traffic and cars, they park everywhere. It doesn't seem like, you know, in Europe, there's fines for pretty much everywhere you park, or time limitations. Here, they're parking on sides of paths, random roads, just blocking everywhere. Seems to be okay over here. If you find a space, just park it. So on the way to the museum, we've come to the morning market. Have a little wander around, see what's what. It looks very similar to most markets we've been to, but hopefully if it's indoors, it's got a bit of aircon because it's very hot today. Yeah, the morning market, pretty decent. You can buy everything from the usual clothes, shoes, watches, technology. But that's the biggest cash for gold floor we've seen in the whole trip. Couldn't believe how busy the floor was as well. I don't know if they were buying or selling, but it was absolutely rammed. So by luck, on the way to the museum, we've managed to stumble across a proper, what we'd call Asian mall, fully airconned. It is beautiful. This is probably the first modern thing.
Modern shops, yeah, it's lovely.
So we're going to explore and cool down. So we just popped into the cinema to look at what films are on, but sadly all in Asian, so we're not going to benefit from that. But price-wise, we were in Thailand paying probably £4 or £5 a ticket, $5–6. You come here, for some reason Wednesday's cheapest, no idea why, and they were £1.50, $2 tickets. It's crazy prices, isn't it?
So cheap. Shame we can't watch film, enjoy the aircon.
Never mind. Onwards and upwards. Honestly, for the 2 weeks we've been travelling Laos, there's been no commerciality at all. There's been no Western products, no Western food. It's been crazy. And then
Starbucks. Novelty.
We've come to the city centre of Vientiane, and first impressions, we thought exactly the same. There wasn't anything like that. And now the Starbucks, Pizza Company, Dairy Queens, Boosts, all sorts. It's a bit strange, isn't it? So whilst we stopped for a Dairy Queen, because the first one we've had in Laos, let's talk to you about the second drawback, the visa. So when Laos neighbouring countries, Thailand and Vietnam, are offering visas for most EU nationals for free for at least 30 days, and then you come here and you're paying upwards of $50 for the same 30-day visa, you can see why more tourists are heading to other countries rather than Laos. If they were to just be a little bit more competitive with the price, at least, even if it was $20, $25, you'd see an influx of more tourists. On top of the fact, as we mentioned, the transport isn't easy to get around, and flights in and out of the country aren't necessarily that cheap. It does make it quite difficult to get in and out of the country. That's a really interesting museum about some of the atrocities that America inflicted on Laos and Vietnam with the amount of bombs they dropped in the 60s and 70s, and how this visitor centre and the charity are trying to rehabilitate a lot of people who have lost limbs due to the unexploded bombs. So definitely well worth checking out. It's only probably an hour of your time and it's completely free to get into, so we definitely donated a little bit of money because it definitely felt like the right thing to do. Let's get on to the positives. Now, because obviously the visa is more expensive and the transport isn't particularly great in this country, naturally you get less people like us, tourists. And what we found in the majority of Laos is it's pretty secluded. There's been a heck of a lot of viewpoints and mountains and views that we've seen, and some of them we've been literally one of a few, if not the only ones there. It feels a bit off the beaten track. It feels special. It doesn't feel like we're getting in the way or we're causing any issues by tourists flocking to an area. There's only probably been one or two occasions where it's felt a bit too much tourism, but you're going to get that anywhere in any city centre. So because of the increased price on the visa and the poor roads, it kind of feels like during our time almost the Laos government doesn't really want that many tourists. Like, they want enough to create an economy, but not too much that it takes over. And speaking to a lot of the locals over the last couple of weeks that we've interacted with, they've very much confirmed that. You know, when asking why don't they improve the roads, why don't they drop the price of the visa, everyone's saying the same thing. They just aren't really that bothered. They don't really want to try harder. I mean, if that's the way they want to be, it's their country. You know, we've loved being here regardless. But from our mindset, it's just strange that you wouldn't want to improve the infrastructure and the economy by letting more people in. But like we said, on the flip, it makes it a really special country to be part of. So, on to the biggest plus regarding Laos, and it's an easy one. It's the country itself. The views and everything we have seen has been absolutely incredible. Every place we've got to is beautiful. Some of the viewpoints we've gone to are amazing, some of the best I've ever seen. And even traveling to and from places on a scooter, we've stopped and took loads of videos. Even in minivans crossing bridges, the place is just an absolute stunner. Probably one of the prettiest places that I've ever been. On the way to the river, Carly's just found her new favourite sign.
The way it reads, it's like, drink, don't drive.
It's almost advocating drink as much as you like, but just make sure you don't drive with it. It's brilliant. So we've just come down to the riverfront again, same place as last night, just to see the sunset, and we've got a lovely golden glow. Fun fact, that this river actually separates Laos from Thailand, so you can't really see, but just across the way, that's Thailand. So our final thoughts on Vientiane. We've been here about 36 hours now, roughly, and in all honesty, you probably could see the majority of this capital in that time. If you were to compare it to, you know, the capital of Thailand, Bangkok, there's so much more to do there. You know, we've been there once and we've barely touched the surface, whereas here, we've been around now for a fair bit, been out all of today, and we've probably seen the majority of the tourist spots. It is a nice capital. It's just not the same level of tourism that you would see in other countries. It doesn't feel like it's geared for that type of crowd. So if you were going to come to Vientiane, I definitely think 2 nights. You know, if you're coming into the country via air and land in the capital, 2 nights. If you are like us on the way out, use it as a last little stopping point. You could do a final night here. I mean, we could use 1 more night maybe to catch up on editing and a few TV programs, but nothing more than that. And I get interrupted by a car bike. So as we pack up to leave Laos and head on to Bali, the final question is, should you come to Laos at all? And it's a pretty simple answer. Yes, you should. Hopefully all the videos you've watched in this series of Laos have shown exactly how amazing this country is. And if you just look past the price of the visa and some of the travel network issues, it is an amazing country. So that is it for this video. We shall see you all in the next one.